It's now 6:40 p.m. on the 7th of March 2026. We are looking at what you might expect to be an open cluster, and so be it. The open cluster is NGC 2301, and we have a lot to get through this evening. Some 75 studies to cover the next 2300 to 2399 series. It will be split into two parts, 2300 to 2349 and 2350 to 2399. The scope is looking pretty good, but I have a lot to cover, and it's going to take over an hour and a half, so hopefully we'll still be catching things culminating without roof tri blockage. So let me give you the data on NGC 2301, open cluster monoceros, the unicorn, magnitude 6, some 12 arc minutes in size, 80 stars, the brightest are magnitude 8. It's a class 1, which means fairly condensed, and 3, which means disparate brightness, is 2,800 light years distant. RA 65145 with a declination of plus 27 minutes and 36 seconds. There's our big, larger screen view. Here we have NGC 2302, not as obvious an open cluster, but it's also 2299, so I wouldn't be surprised if I hadn't already captured it. In monoceros, magnitude 8.9, 2.5 arc minutes in size, so we're only talking about this little region here. 30 stars, brightest are magnitude 10.2. It's a class 2-2, middling in the pack, 4,400 light years distant, twice the distance of 2301. We're at RA 65155 with a declination of minus 7 degrees, 5 minutes and 0 seconds. Okay, we're back down to that initial open cluster, 15 minutes in. The NGC 2301 open cluster monoceros, magnitude 6, 12 arc minute size, 80 stars, brightest magnitude 8, class 1-3, 2,800 light years distant, RA 65145 with a declination of plus 27 minutes, 36 seconds. NGC 2302, also 2299, open cluster monoceros, magnitude 8.9, 2.5 arc minutes in size. So you pick it. It's class 2-2, 4,400 light years distant. RA is 65155 with a declination of minus 705 and 0 arc seconds. 0 seconds. Another nice star field, NGC 2304. Looks like an open cluster there. And yes, that is the one in Gemini. Magnitude 10, 5 arc minutes in size, 30 stars, class 2-1. So the many stars in this cluster are pretty evenly matched for brightness. 13,700 light years distant. RA 65511 with a declination of plus 175918. Let's push it up and heading now. NGC 2306 is another open cluster in monoceros, but this one is extremely small. Take it up to 105x. Everything seems to be shifted over here, and I suspect this is our little cluster there. 20 by 10 arc seconds. 3,900 light years distant. No other information except for RA 65429, declination minus 7 degrees, 12 minutes, 12 seconds. NGC 2309 is another open cluster, and this one's kind of a sweetie. In monoceros, magnitude 10.5, 3 arc minutes in size, 40 stars. The brightest are magnitude 13. Gives you an idea what 13 magnitude stars look like. Class 2-2, 8,200 light years distant with an RA of 65603 and a declination of minus 71030. I think I'm going to have to resynchronize the mount by shifting things towards the south before I proceed. Okay, I've synchronized up NGC 2309. Fairly far south, so it tends to be drifting in the easterly direction and more northerly studies to the east. NGC 2311 is, what do you think? An open cluster in monoceros, magnitude 9.6, 7 arc minutes in size, 50 stars, brightest are magnitude 12, class 3, 2, so fairly spread out. 7,500 light years distant, RA 657.47, declination minus 4 degrees, 36 minutes, 42 seconds. And all these open clusters should tell you we are still in the galactic plane. NGC 23112 is another one of those apparently smallish open clusters. In Monoceros, 5 by 2.5 arc minutes, 7,300 light years distant. You pick it. There's no other information on it. RA is 658.47 with a declination of plus 10 degrees, 17 minutes, 42 seconds. NGC 2313 is a nebula in Monoceros, kind of smallish, 0.5 by 0.3 arc minutes, in emissive type, which means it's going to have a reddish cast to it. Let's go hopping around and see if we can't make it out. Remember, let's back out a little bit. Remember, I did center things up, so it should be in this region here. And if we go full Monty, you know what? This reddish star may actually have a nebula around it, which is causing it to be excited like that. AdventuresInDeepSpace.com. Consult with the expert, Steve Gottlieb. NGC 2316 is another nebula. It's also 2317. I suspect it's around these two stars, especially if it's reflective. Yeah, it is. It's 4 arc minutes in size, reflective, 3,600 light years distant. I do think we've called it out. Focus is a little bit better. I just kind of knurled the knob a little bit randomly. 3,600 light years distant. RA is 659.41 with a declination of minus 7 degrees, 46 minutes, and 33 seconds. I hate when that bar pops up. When does that happen? Okay, NGC 2318 is flanked by power line diffusions. It's an open cluster in Canis Majoris. Fortunately, it should be right between them. Can't be sure where it is in the field, though. Not much information other than the fact it's 4,400 light years distant. RA is 659.27 with a declination of minus 13 degrees, 41.54. AdventuresInDeepSpace.com. Maybe he'll tell you it doesn't really exist, because that happens quite often too. Okay, in the year 2323 is an open cluster in Monoceros. It's also Messier 50. This gives us more information we would have gotten the Messier catalog on the Gemini handset. It's magnitude 5.9, 16 arc minutes in size, some 80 stars, the brightest of which are 7.8, which tells you there's about a 2 magnitude delta between the brightest and the overall brightness. It's about class 2, 3, very disparate magnitudes. 3,100 light years distant, RA 702.42 with a declination of minus 8 degrees, 23 minutes, and 0 seconds. Let's see if we can get those tools to disappear. Very nice. Okay, NGC 2324 is that nice little sprinkling of stars right near the center of the field. Magnitude 8.4, open cluster, 8 arc minutes in size, 70 stars, brightest of which are magnitude 10.4, another 2 magnitude delta. It's a class 2-2, 12,400 light years distant in the galactic plane, I suspect. RA 70407 with a declination of plus 1 degrees, 2 minutes, and 42 seconds. Not a bad sky for where we are currently located. We're looking for NGC 2324, a galaxy in Canis Majoris, and I think we have picked it out. Let's see if it maps. The sky looks great for that far south, and I'll tell you how far south in a moment. This is a galaxy in Canis Majoris, magnitude 11.4, 3.5 by 2.1 arc minute elliptical. You can see the aura around it, somewhat squished by its class 4 elliptical status. 90 million light years distant puts this at about 100,000 light years in diameter. Not bad for an elliptical, which are usually highly compressed by gravitational fields. RA is 702.40 with a declination of minus 28 degrees, 41 minutes, and 53 seconds. Zowie, what a nice view of NGC 2325. NGC 2327 is a nebulosity, and I think we were seeing it from the 30x 20% Ezium field right off. In Canis Majoris, a mere 20 arcs. Yeah, 20 minutes, it says. Elliptical. 20-minute size? Yeah. Okay, 20-minute size elliptical, not seconds. It's kind of small. 3,800 light years distant. RA 70407 with a declination of minus 11 degrees, 18 minutes, and 50 seconds. So maybe it does expand out quite a ways. Pushing the magnification up, getting more of those photons, and bailing. NGC 2333. Better part of the sky, Galaxy and Gemini, the twins, magnitude 13.3, 1 by 0.7 arc minutes. I think we're making it out right about there. 215 million light years distant, 1 by 0.7 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase a, so it should have a brighter core. RA 7 hours, 8 minutes, 21 seconds, with a declination of plus 35 degrees, 10 minutes, and 10 seconds. NGC 2335 is another one of those nice little sprinklings of open clusters that we've encountered. This one's also a monoceros. Magnitude 7.2, 12 arc minutes in size, 35 stars. The brightest are magnitude 9.5. That 2 magnitude rule for 2 2s. However, this is a 3 3. 4,600 light years distant. RA 70649 with a declination of minus 10 degrees, 1 minute and 42 seconds. Off to NGC 2337, another galaxy in lengths. Magnitude 12.4 and larger, 2.3 by 1.7 arc minute irregular. I think this is probably our galaxy here. It's a mere 23 million light years distant, puts this maybe at 20,000 light years in diameter. RA is 7 hours, 10 minutes, 13 seconds, with a declination just below 45, plus 44 degrees, 27 minutes, 24 seconds. Pretty much passes directly over the zenith over John Day, Oregon. Maybe we'll make this our patron galaxy, NGC 2337 in lengths. NGC 2338, another open cluster of monoceros, a little harder to pick out this time. 6 by 5 arc minutes, 5,900 light years distant. I suspect it's there. Right ascension is 7 hours, 7 minutes, 43 seconds, with a declination of minus 5 degrees, 43 minutes, and 0 seconds. And we have yet to culminate this evening, which is very surprising and appreciated by me. Whoa, what is this? Is that a remnant of that smoke we saw earlier? Anyway, what we're really after is this brilliant galaxy right in the middle of the field. NGC 2339. It's a galaxy in Gemini. Now, I don't think I picked this one up earlier. I may have, but it would have been when the sky's a little lighter, so I love it, the spec on this. It's magnitude 11.8, 2.7 by 2 arc minutes, spiral with a bar and lowercase bc and a ring. And that ring is quite obvious, is it not? Definitely getting a sense of frontier around this face-on galaxy, practically face-on. RA is 7 hours, 8 minutes, 20 seconds with a declination of plus 18 degrees, 46 minutes, and 48 seconds. Pressing it all the way up to 150x, backing out for the beauty shot, letting the controls disappear. And that smoke over there, I have no idea. Must be somebody has a fireplace burning somewhere nearby. NGC 2341 is another galaxy, and this one's in Gemini, but this one's supposed to be magnitude 13 too. Is it the same? Well, anyway, we'll have to check that out. It could be out of order, but this does not look like the last galaxy. Let's get this straight. 13.2, 0.8 by 0.8 arc minutes. Could fit that. Spiral with a lowercase c, yes, doesn't have much of a core. This one does. 235 million light years distant, okay. puts it at about 65,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 70912 with a declination of plus 20 degrees, 36 minutes and 8 seconds. Let's make sure we get that 105x view. So we have a chopper taking off over here. This is the same field we looked at before, but apparently there are two galaxies here which we didn't quite notice previously. This one is NGC 2342, so it must be the further off one. 1.4 by 1.3 arc-minute spire with a lowercase c, 236 million light years distant, RA 70918, declination plus 20 degrees, 38 minutes, 10 seconds. Intriguing, isn't it? Wow. Two colliding galaxies, NGC 2341, presumably, and 42. Okay, NGC 2343 is a nebula and open cluster in Monoceros. Magnitude 6.77 arc-minutes in size, 20 stars. Brightest star magnitude 8.4. It's a class 3-3, so not easy to pick out. 3,400 light years distant, but this one looks pretty obvious to me. Right ascension 70806 with a declination of minus 10 degrees, 37 minutes and 8 seconds. Let's go ahead and let the field clear out and see if we can make out any nebulosity. Given the color of these stars, I would say it's probably associated with this cluster right here. And given the fact it's a 3-3, there's a lot of disparity in brightness and some lack of condensation of stars. NGC 2345 is obviously an open cluster behind a diffraction bar of a power line. Magnitude 7.7, 12 arc-minutes in size, 70 stars. Magnitude 9.9 is class 1-3. 7,300 light years distant. 1 means fairly condensed, 3 means fairly disparate in magnitudes. RA is 70818 with a declination of minus 13 degrees, 11 minutes, 36 seconds. NGC 2346. I think I can see it in the field. It's a planetary nebula in Monoceros, magnitude 12.5, 60 by 50 arc seconds, so well-sized. Central star is magnitude 11.3, 4,500 light years distant, RA 70922 with a declination of minus 48 minutes and 21 seconds. Incredibly beautiful star field for this planetary nebula. At 60 by 50 arc seconds, that gives you an idea that this is 1 arc minute in size here. I like to push up the magnification on planetaries. And there is our view of NGC 2346. I think it gave you all the data and heading out. NGC 2349 is an open cluster in Monoceros, 5 arc-minutes in size. I suspect it's probably this, referring to this. 5,300 light years distant with an RA of 7 hours, 10 minutes, 48 seconds, and a declination of minus 8 degrees, 35 minutes, 36 seconds. So we've managed to squeeze everything into roughly a half an hour, and we covered several northerly studies in the next series, which will be 2350 to 2399. But let's go back to 2346 and take a longer-term exposure of it. Okay, what we're doing here is very interesting. We're going to start off with a 6-inch aperture view, 0.2 seconds of NGC 2346. And I'm going to step through it. I'm going to try to maintain the magnification as 105x. We have it centered there, and let's pause. Okay, this is our 1 second exposure, which is about a 14-inch telescope of the same planetary nebula, bringing out distinctly the nebulosity. The central star was obvious in both, and the nebulosity is now present. Here we have an 18-inch 2-second exposure of the same planetary, NGC 2346. And here we go with our original 5-second exposure, which I consider equates out to about a 36-inch optical telescope, but at much lower magnifications than you would ordinarily use due to exit pupil limitations. Okay, what we have here, of course, is not a 20-second, but a 10-second, but a 30-second exposure of the planetary nebula. And I'm going to push it all the way up so we can get all the photonage possible. We're completely blown out the core of the planetarium. We're getting some extended luminosity off in this direction here. A 30-second exposure, in my estimation, is probably somewhere around a 72-inch telescope. We are getting distension now, so we're not tracking accurately enough. We've had some ignored stacks. I'm going to drop it back down to the next step down. Okay, we should be getting our 10-second exposure stack soon of NGC. And I'll push it up to 150x, and I'll give you the data. NGC 2346, Planetary Nebula, Monoceros, magnitude 12.5, 60 by 50 arc seconds in size, magnitude 11.3, central star, 4,500 light years distant, RA 70922, declination right almost on the celestial equator, but it's slightly south at 48 minutes and 21 seconds. And with this next pass, I am going to say Carpe Noctem.